Welcome back. This is the second tutorial in our PHP MySQL tutorial series. I'm glad to be back. I kind of had to switch to my glasses. This is kind of a little bit of a testing and trial and error. I had 2 videos posted up before, but as it turns out, the quality was very much so lacking. So I take it back. We're going to redo it. We're going to make it work this time. And you're going to be able to read all of this code up here. Yeah. Not much use in having a tutorial series where you can't read the code, right? Okay, so let's get on with this. Today we are working on grabbing data from a database and displaying it however we want to on the screen. That's it. That's all we're working with. It seems like it's a little bit, but it's actually quite a bit. So let's get started before it gets too long. First thing you want to do is do your error reporting. And PHP has a nice couple presets in it that will help you do that quite nicely. That's what I always use. Error underscore reporting, E_all. And then initiate set, ini set underscore set, whatever. Display underscore errors, another preset, and the number of errors, 1, or the number of sets to display. Yeah. Makes sense? Makes sense. It's good to have. Trust me, you'll need it, along with other things we'll get to eventually. But that's a good practice. Next, connect to the database. Can't really get the information from the database if you don't connect to it. It's pretty simplistic logic. So that's how you connect to it. We did in the last one, we tested the script with the connection script. I have since then put it into this folder, and I included it once. Included it. So you can do include once. Just make sure that it's going to tell that file to be there so you can connect to your database. Okay, so the next thing we have is to declare our variable, our dynamic list variable. This thing right here that's going to echo out the list. Yeah, you got to declare it and make it equal to something. For right now, we're going to make it equal the head of the table and the first row. So the start of the table and the first row. Table starts, got some ID in there, have an ID in there so that I could stylize the sheet a little bit. I use some very awkward colors, but you'll definitely be able to see what's on there. Okay, so we got our picture, our name, and I'm doing a picture because basically I'm pulling the ID and I renamed the picture's name to the ID number. So I'll show you how I did that when we get down there. The name, the category, and the details. That's it. That's all we got there. Picture, name, category, details. Which is really just ID, name, category, details. So moving forward, now we got the query, the fun part. Ta-da! SQL equals MySQL query. So we've named it SQL for your reading pleasure. Nah, not really reading pleasure, but to make it easier to understand. Trust me, it will help. So your SQL is MySQL query, another preset for PHP. Select all from product. That's what we want. We want to select every single object inside product. And right now it's just data, so we're not really selecting individual cells from the table. We're just selecting the table and everything in it. So we're going to do, we're going to count the rows. Gotta count the rows. And PHP has a preset for this too. So your count, what you're going to count is MySQL num rows from SQL. So basically it's saying you're counting the rows from all of product. From all of product. Get it? Simple. Trust me, these are things you're going to use over and over and over again. You'll get to the point where you'll be like, you know, how did I not even understand any of that, you know? You'll just be like, it's natural. And don't worry about terminology. I suck at terminology, but as long as you understand the code, understand what it does, you'll be just fine. You really will. So, next part, we're going to run our if statement. Ta-da! This is how it's constructed. If our count is greater than 0, we'll run our little loop. Else, we're going to skip the loop if it isn't greater than 0. In other words, if there's nothing there, we're just going to skip our loop and make the value equal something else. Make our list equal something else. See, we're making it equal. Sorry, we don't have any items yet. So if it's not greater than 0, you don't have anything. Pretty simple. Okay, before we get into this while loop, oh no, we'll just do the while loop first. Ignore me. Here we go. Here's your while loop. Ta-da! While the rows that you've counted out are equal to MySQL fetch array. That's another shortcut for let's fetch all the rows and all the rows individually. So basically, as long as it's greater than 0, it'll keep going through this while loop and fetching the next row and the next row and the next row. See? Fetch array from your num row count all arrays from product. It's kind of like a reverse logic here. You can see it forwards or see it backwards. Whichever way you see it, just see it. I don't know. Yeah, let's move on before I get a little too crazy. I want to get this one recorded and then hit the sack. Alrighty. Here are all the values. Since you've gotten the rows, here's all the values, little cells that you made. ID equals ID, name equals name, category equals category, and details equals details. These are the names I put in there for the structure of the database. For each cell has a name. I have an ID cell, a name cell, a category cell, and a detail cell. And what that does is it names those cells so that way you can pull them like so. They have data in them. I put the data in them. The ID is auto increment and always starts with 1. The name is whatever I put in there. The category and details are also whatever I put in there. Okay, remember to end all of your values, but don't end the if. See the end while? There's no little end thing. If I did this, it would break. Don't do that. So, anytime there's a bracket, curly bracket, an end one, don't put that little end variable symbol there, or whatever you want to call it. It's only for variables, I think. Alright, so now, while we're pulling out the rows, we want to expand on this, not overwrite it. Expand. So here's how you expand. This dot equals, period equals, dot equals. That's how you expand. You're not overwriting it. You're saying, hey, add on to what's already there. And what we're doing here is we're adding another row and just another row onto our table. Every time it goes through this loop. Another row, another product, another row, another product. Simple. And here's how you get the image. I'll tell you how to use a form to upload it later, but right now you can just go in there, find a JPEG, or whatever file type you've chosen to use. Find that kind of image. Put it in the file that you created. I don't know if you can see it down here. My picture's probably in the way. Product image, right here. Images. Yeah. Product images / concatenated value. Concatenate. I believe that's what that's called. Concatenate. Basically, you're inserting the value from up here so you don't have to do something stupid like this. Control copy. And I know some of you were thinking about doing it. Control V. Ta-da! Ooh, I'm smart. So I'm echoing this out. All I have to do is put it in here like this. And instead of have dynamic list, we just have ID. I got it. That's a lot of extra work. You don't need to do that. You really don't. Yes, it'll probably read like that just fine, but why? You're already in a PHP block. Just do that. It's whatever quotation marks you're using on the very outside. This is a single quote. So we use single quote to break the code in the middle, and do space dot the variable name dot space single quote. And that will put the value of the specific cell in that place. And then you just do .jpg in regular text /HTML, and it'll display the image. That's it. That's all there is to it. And of course, we're just displaying values here. We're not displaying images, so we'll just concatenate and put the names in. And we're done. Now, once you're done going row after row after row, and it's spitting out individual rows, once you're outside of your while loop, you will add on once again to the value and end the table. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Ah, yes. I love it when videos are short, or at least shorter than I thought they would. My microphone, it's getting closer and closer to me. It's on to me. I don't know. We're okay. Okay, so moving on, you just end the table. Okay, else you rewrite the value if there's nothing in the tables and say, sorry, we don't have any items yet. And then, first time I recorded this, I left this part out. This is very important. Okay, after you've ended the if, after you've ended everything, at your last block of PHP. So if we had other blocks of PHP, like that connected to the database, like so. If we had other blocks, those blocks would also be able to connect regardless of the fact that they don't have this line of code in them. They can do it without it. They don't need it. So, at the last block of the entire thing, when you no longer need to connect to your database and you don't need to connect to it anymore, yeah. I'm just going to go in circles all day, don't worry. Do this. MySQL _ close. Another preset closes out the connection and makes it so you would actually have to restate it in the code to reconnect. So that way you're safe. No hackers can get in there without knowing the username and password. And you can draw a nice little relieving breath of fresh air. Yeah. Alright, so now I know what you're waiting for. Let's execute this puppy and see what I put in there. Yes to all. There we go. Don't look at me like that. Come on. Seriously? I can't win. I just can't win. They don't even like me. Look at them. That's what I get for using a meme. Anyway, so there's our header, the first part of the variable. That was the top row, and it ended at the row. Then we ran the loop, and it added one single row in because that's all we have. If it had more, it'd make a row, make another row, make another row. And then it just puts in the rest of our actual data, the data I put in there. So there it is. Short and simple. And then once it gets out of the while loop, it extends onto our value even more and ends the table. If you don't end the table, your HTML is going to be really screwy and it probably won't display, or it will just look really weird. One of the two. But yeah, just base value, extend the value, and then extend the value to finish it off. Simple as that. Well, likes are appreciated. Subscriptions are awesome. View other people's tutorials that are out there if this one makes you very lost. And I really hope the audio syncs up with this one because before it was not doing it. So we will see. And hopefully I will see you next tutorial. Bye.